For the second year, the state is continuing a large-scale project for the region's Ukrainian security passport. 12 regional centers were investigated. In 2017, specialists were studying the situation in the Vinnytsia, Zakarpattia, Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkiv, and Kherson oblasts. In 2018, the project was continued in the Odessa, Rivne, Chernihiv, Kropivnitsky, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia oblasts. We want to measure certain security drivers. In different regions, there are spoilers in people's fears, in particular, in the context of how the country is living today. Our country is in a state of war. We have external factors, but of course, there are many internal factors. The project was introduced to determine the challenges that exist in each region, how problems are solved, and which strategies are the most effective. Within the framework of this project, a group of researchers conducts such a small sociological study. In general, in 6 regions were interviewed nearly 1,300 people. They are not only the inhabitants of these regions, but also professionals, law enforcement officers, and representatives of the government. In addition, the researchers met with academics, business community representatives, local activists, and public figures. This approach takes into account both quantitative and qualitative methods of collecting information. All data obtained through sociological studies and from government structures were checked. For each region, such a map of problems is drawn, which combines the times, as well as the causes of the problems and their interconnection. For example, there is large migration in this region, and we analyze the reasons for certain economic problems. That is, when this interrelation emerges, the solutions of these problems of a particular region look quite different. For each region, experts developed separate recommendations, which were passed on to both local and central executive bodies. After that, the document was submitted to European diplomats and international foundations. The security passport was developed on the basis of the Global Peace Index, GPI, according to the methodology of the Institute of Economics and Peace, adapted by experts to Ukrainian realities. We developed these criteria for problem solving in such a way as the Peace Index, which evaluates different countries based on a number of criteria and indicators. We have redeemed this index. We have added Ukrainian specifics. Moreover, we have expanded the number of problems, and as a result, we ended up with about 50 different indicators. Security, the economy, the social sector, infrastructure, the issue of trust in government and migration are the most interesting for Ukrainians in the regions. Each of these indicators can be measured, analysts assure. This allows for identifying problems that require immediate solutions. In order to prescribe treatment, you need to conduct a diagnosis. What we do is called a diagnosis. We measure the average temperature in the ward, and then we begin to work individually because we give recipes that are formed into projects. The project became possible due to cooperation with NATO. Also, during the preparation of a security passport, the experts communicated with the Government Office for European and Euro-Atlantic Integration of Ukraine, the Ministry for Temporarily Occupied Territories. The issue of Euro-Atlantic integration is one of those issues that are very speculative, especially in such regions as the east or south of Ukraine. And here are some developments, strategies to inform the local population in different groups, for journalists and for young people. It is also for the older generation, for professionals and for those who don't understand the subject at all. That is, these strategies have been developed and we work with different audiences here. Previously, NATO actually supported the issue of informing the population. Some projects aimed at improving the relations between Ukraine and the alliance countries. And this is actually the first project in which NATO began to take serious interest in the situation in Ukraine, in the same way as the situation in regions. How the attitude of Ukraine towards NATO has changed since 2014, and are citizens seeking to join the alliance, these issues are also the source of research by experts in different oblasts of Ukraine. The researchers try to understand how the Ukraine-NATO action program is being implemented at the local level. For example, in the Rivne Oblast, we see NATO support. It is somewhere around 80%, while in the Odessa Oblast, the situation is quite different, around 20%. So there's a huge difference. In order to see the basis of these problems, we need to communicate with those people who have dealt with these critical issues. The project Ukrainian Security Passport will continue. Other oblasts of Ukraine are in turn. Experts' recommendations will help to prevent and solve urgent problems in different regions of Ukraine. This is very important, especially factoring in the Russian aggression in the east. As a result, the regions will become stronger, the level of security will increase, and citizens will have more information about the foreign policy of the state.